Today we are talking Auburn, all things Auburn, UGA versus the Plainsman Eagle. And who's to say that anything's going to be different than the Mizzou game? That should give you a little bit of issue in your gut. We're going to talk about that and more here on Locked On Bulldogs coming up next.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back. This is Locked On Bulldogs. Daniel is out. He's just out, y'all. Can I just tell you this right now? He gone. Okay. He's nowhere to be found. So that's all good. We're here. We're talking Bulldogs. We're talking UGA. I got three things to talk about today with you. One, we're going to talk about why UGA is going to be different this time around in this game compared to other weeks. I'm going to give you some insight to that. Two, we're going to talk about Auburn and what strengths, I don't know if that's a fair thing to say, strengths they have. And then lastly, how this game matches up for us. So let's start there. We're going to talk about what's different for UGA this come around, this week. We got SEC play. We are back at home. We are a mid-afternoon kick. It is the Deep South's oldest rivalry. And here's what's different. A few things. One, we're at home. That home cooking hits different, y'all. You know this. I know this. Home cooking hits different. Love being at home. Pack out that stadium. We're the only stadium so far that's got 100% capacity in the SEC, 100% sellout tickets every single game. Only team to say that. Love hearing that. Keep that up, Dog Faithful. John Tweet Sports is going to be in the house. Our Twitter followers, if it was his Twitter followers or ours, I don't know which one. Dog Family hooked him up with some tickets to the game. So excited to see him out there doing what he does well, which is being the most obnoxious Georgia fan in the world. And that's the deepest compliment I can give somebody. So we're excited for that. Being at home, being between the hedges is going to be huge in Athens. Two, here's what also is different. The Georgia offense is playing at an exceptional level. When I say exceptional, I mean exceptional. I don't mean ho-hum. I don't mean they're doing okay. They're averaging over 500 yards. Let's just talk about that, shall we? Averaging over 500 yards per game. They're putting up points. Their efficiency is through the roof. I think they're the fourth or fifth most efficient offense still in the entire nation. But what happens is when you punt and when you turn the ball over and you stall out on drives, that highly efficient offense can't get going. That is the problem. I don't think there'll be a problem on Saturday because I think if I saw the second half, we learned a great deal about Todd Monken. We learned a great deal about this offense. We grew up in that second half coming out of the locker room against Missouri. And I think it's just going to roll over. I think it's going to continue. I think we're going to see the wheels keep on going for this Georgia offense. I think, again, we hoped to have seen a lot of Dejon Edwards last week. We saw him down the stretch. We saw Kenny Mack. I don't know if you all remember that fourth down play against the goal line where Kenny Mack should have been stoned for an absolute no gain or negative 1 yard gain right before he got to that first down stick. He absorbed contact and then he went through contact and got the first down. So Kenny Mack's good. And Kendall Milton showed us something last game. I'm actually more confident heading in to this game than I was last game. So I think Todd Monken, I think his offense got it rolling. I think the offensive line got put to task. I think they absolutely got it handed to them. And in the game, we know that was the case. But I think this week they got it handed to them. I think they're going to respond very, very well. Stetson Bennett is doing Stetson Bennett-like things. If you all remember last year when he was doubted, he came out guns blazing. Mailman came for it. And I think it's going to be the same this week as well. When he was doubted last year, he always rebounded. I think this is a big get-right game. I didn't think it was going to be a get-right game. I thought it coming off of Kent State with this offense, it'd be a get-right game against Mizzou. Turns out against Mizzou, a get-right game against Auburn. And let's talk about that defense for Auburn. They got an all-cast inside linebacker. We know him. We know who he is. We know what he's done. Georgia faithful were hoping to have him between the hedges. Wasn't set in the cards. He's a good linebacker, y'all. I think that ends my discussion of the defense. sad as it is to say, I think they got some guys on the defensive line who can move bodies around. I think Brian Harson's being a ghost coach and not having anybody on the opposite side to coach defense is a big turnoff for a lot of those guys. I don't think they have particularly anybody that can beat up offensive line. I think they have people that might be able to annoy them a little bit, and maybe schematically. A couple guys in the backfield on the defensive back who are there, but it's not remarkable. The defense is middling at best. Their offense has more woes than their defense. Their defense does keep them in games. But actually, statistically, their offense and defense, this is going to shock, is similar to Missouri. Now, again, that gives a little consternation to some of you because we didn't play well against Mizzou. But I think we would have played well had we not fumbled, had we had some picks where we got them, the 3 that we chronicled, had we not punted, had we punched it in with efficiency like we did in the second half, I think it's going to be fine. So their defense is not terribly scary. They're middling. They keep them in games. They keep them in games against LSU because LSU's bad. This offense should be cooking, should be right. If the second half of Mizzou, if we continue that, that's all we got to do. We're going to come back after this, but talk first. I want to learn about Upside. Upside is a fantastic app. It's not too good to be true. Many people are getting this app and thinking, oh, it's too good to be true. Upside is not. Go to the App Store, that's iOS or Android, and get Upside. Wherever you shop, use the Upside app, and you're going to get cash back in everything that you have already paid for. And right now with promo code LOCKED, you get $5 on top of whatever Upside was going to give you on the first purchase of $10 or more. That's right, $5 free. Upside. It's not too good to be true. You just use it wherever you go shopping, and it's going to get you cash. That's Upside app. Go get it right now. All right, let's talk about this defense for Georgia, this offense for Auburn. And let me just say in a word, this offense is terrible. Missouri's offense is better. Quarterback has better wide receivers and has a dirtier offensive line. 66 Mizzou. We all know who you are. We see you, and you're not fooling anybody. So Mizzou has a dirtier offensive line. Is that true? I don't know, because Auburn, many of you are screaming into your headphones right now. Auburn's pretty dirty. I hear you. I understand. But this offense for Auburn has a quarterback who is less accurate than TJ Finley. I'm sorry. Let me put that in terms that you understand. He's worse at delivering the ball to receivers than TJ Finley, and TJ Finley was not particularly good. Ashford is out there. He is AR-15 wannabe, I suppose, is the best way to say him. Now, all of this is like you're saying, well, hold on, Clint. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. This defense has to show up. I know this defense has to show up. But if I'm telling you that they're not going to be precision executors, if they're not going to be X's and O's, if they're not going to be people that can do that consistently, then the problem with this offense for them is against this defense, we are insanely athletic. We are insanely fast. We're insanely instinctual. So come play backyard ball. We'll play that all day long. That's where our skill set comes into play. That's where I feel confident with this offense or with this defense against this offense. So I'm not scared about a quarterback who's athletic or running back. Tank, look, last year, Tank went 72 plays, 72 carries, averaging 0.07 yards per carry against us on the first drive. I get that. I understand that. Tank's a good running back. I don't know how they're not utilizing him more, but they're not. And it's a shame. It's a crying shame, truth be told. But don't worry. This defense is up to task because this offense is not going to be somebody who can go out there and who can consistently sustain drives. They're going to be one-hitters, two-hitters. They're going to be blown plays. They're going to be blown assignments, which, again, you're saying to yourself, okay, Clint, but we've done that a handful of times. You're right, we've done that a handful of times. I'm with you. I'm not saying we haven't done that. What I am saying is this. Let's slow the boat on this defense. We said there'd be growing pains. There's been 2 weeks of growing pains. There were 2 weeks of unbelievable ball. And do you know who's averaging the fewest amount of points per game in the SEC? Oh, that's right. It's your Georgia Bulldogs. So let's pump the brakes on it. I think we're going to have a bounce back not on offense but on defense because I think this is a get-right game. This is Mizzou light. Mizzou, that quarterback from Mizzou, look, he can spin it a little. This quarterback, Ashford for Auburn, he can't spin it. He can run it. Great. I got Smile Mondon. I got Trez. I got Malachi Starks. I got everybody back there who can hunt you down. We're going to be fine. No wide receivers like they had in previous weeks. Luther is not on the other side of the ball. I think this defense is a get-back game in a big way. We're going to back over this, talk about the third segment of what I anticipate for this Georgia-Auburn game right after this. Okay, y'all. Last point is this. We talked about the offense. We talked about the defense. I just want to say, here's what I anticipate. Here's what I heard Kirby Smart say, and here's what I heard Auburn say. Auburn came out this week and just laid an absolute idiotic move by saying that the offensive line is going to be able to manhandle. Yeah, basically, Auburn said, you're soft. You're Charmin soft. And what Georgia didn't need bulletin board. They don't care what's happening anymore. Nobody cares. I think Auburn poked a little bit too much this week. I think Georgia's coaching staff is getting them right. I think Kirby understands his task. I think Kirby said so after the game, said so all this week. He is very well aware of the softness. You saw inside linebackers getting after people on the sidelines for Georgia. You saw leadership step up. You saw Stetson. You saw Brock and Big O. Big O out here saying, I don't care if I'm blocking or catching. If we're winning, I want to be on the field and I want to do its best. Look, y'all, fantasy football is not a thing in college, and they are doing everything they need to. Now, Big O should get more reps because when he touches the ball, it's like watching lightning strike something. It's a freak of nature to watch him do his thing. Okay, like it's just a freak what he's able to do. Let's just pump the brakes on saying let's force feed him. Please don't do that. That's not what Todd Monken does. That's not what his offense does. That's not what Stetson does. What we should be doing instead is this. We should be doing the second half sprinkled in Brock, sprinkled in Big O. We might get AD back this week. Ladd McConkey's going to catch footballs again one day in his life. I don't know when. I hope it's soon. But y'all, Auburn's doing all the talking. You realize that a lot of you this week said Georgia did too much talking pregame. Jalen want to start fights. Jalen's out for a couple weeks. I get that. Pregame, talking about we have the ring, yada, yada, yada. We're at home. It's a rivalry game. It's Auburn, who I hate, who Georgia hates, who we all hate. And a coaching staff that's heard a little bit too much chirping is going to get them right. Y'all, I'm telling you right now. I actually feel more confident this week than I did last week, even after last week's performance. So pump the brakes, because Auburn doing that talking, I haven't heard us do any of that talking, which makes me believe that coaching staff has gotten them wrapped up tight. They are stone cold locked in. You block it up. Georgia's focused. We know the task. We've been playing the task. We have to clean up the little stuff, to clean up the stuff that in a margin of error makes sure you lose a game. We should have lost Missouri last week. We didn't because we're a good team. No, we're a great team. Our statistics say it. Our deep analytics say it. Our efficiency says it. Our skill players say it. And we're getting guys back. And our defense is getting growing pains. And this is film study for the ages. And now we come up against a team that doesn't have execution, who is talking a big game, who wants to keep barking all day long coming into Athens. This is a recipe for a great game. This is a recipe for a Oregon-esque game, if I may. This has the feels to me. They may play lower than Mizzou, but this has the feels of an Oregon game to me, and I couldn't be more excited. Get locked into this game as we are. This has been Locked On Bulldogs here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We will see you guys later.